Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about who has the power in a country, the power in a nation. Where does that power reside? And I believe that here in America, during our presidential election that we just had, that the Amish have proven who has the power. For those of you who don't know, in other countries, we have a group of people called the Amish, and they don't use any technology, basically. And they live in their own communities. They don't bother anyone. They never make the news by, robbing and stealing or doing. They're just completely self-sufficient, quiet people who leave everyone else alone. They bother no one. But our government, our FBI, keeps raiding them, and this has been going on for decades. This isn't a new thing. These people don't bother anyone, and they get raided by our government, the FBI, because they drink raw milk. I'm not making this up. People will think this is funny. Those of you who have never heard this before, especially in other countries, I'm not making it up. This is absolute truth. This actually happens in America. All right. And when I think about that, I think about, our border to our country is an open wound, and our government is wasting resources by attacking these people for consuming raw milk, right? It's not pasteurized, I guess. And I myself, when I was a young kid, we had a cow. I've drank raw milk. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's probably healthier in my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I loved it. It was delicious. Now, I have never met an Amish person. I don't know any Amish people, but I have heard a lot about them, and they're more about what our government is doing to them. And it really just boggles my mind every time I think of it, of all the horrible things going on in this country, and the FBI wants to go over there and kick in Amish doors. It's baffling. It's baffling that America would allow this to happen to our fellow citizens. So anyway, the Amish, they kicked in one too many doors, the FBI did, and the Amish stood up in droves and came and voted for Donald Trump. So, and that's my point about where the power is. When a community stands up together as one and peacefully protests, peacefully makes their choices known, peacefully refuses to consent to what is going on, advocates change, demands change, that is where the power lies. If everyone in America decided that we wanted the stripes, the center stripes on our roads to be blue, we could make that happen really quickly. If every single person in America wanted it at the same time, it would happen. There's no doubt in my mind. There's just no doubt, because we have the power, and what we want to happen happens. We just have to do it in unity. We have to do it together. And that's the same for Australia, the UK, Ireland, Norway, Denmark, everywhere. The people have the power. We've been tricked into believing that we don't. And there's a movie called Ants and there's some dialogue in that movie that speaks directly to that. In the movie, grasshoppers are like overlords to the ants. They control the ants, and one ant starts causing problems. So one grasshopper says to the head grasshopper, what do we care? It's one ant. And the grasshopper says to him, if that ant wakes up all the other ants, we're done. We lose our way of life. We can't take basically, I'm not quoting verbatim, but basically, you know, if we take our boot off their neck, then they're gonna stand up and realize that they're free and that they have the power. And I believe that Western civilization is in that position now. We have a boot on our neck and we don't realize that we have the power. We have the power to change what we want. We have the power to keep what we want the same. We have the power. But we have to exercise that power together. Individuals do not have power. I do not have power myself. I need everyone else with me. All of us need to have common sense. All of us need to desire freedom. All of us need to desire prosperity. And that's the thing. They don't fear us anymore. They used to fear us. The government, the powers that be, used to fear us because we knew we had the power. But we've lost that. We've lost that knowledge. Now they just come right out and say, we're coming for your guns. The First Amendment is just a roadblock to democracy. It makes it harder to govern, they say. These types of things they're just saying out loud now. Now, back in the 70s when I was a kid, they couldn't say that. Not and remain a politician. They would have had to go back to, you know, being a lawyer or whatever they probably weren't anything at all. They might have had a degree or something, but they would have had to make a living like a normal human being, is my point. You couldn't say that back in the 70s. Now, they just say it out loud. And there's a big portion of the population that agrees with them. They've brainwashed them into agreeing with them that, freedom of speech is bad. The right to protect yourselves from your government is bad. The right to drink raw milk is bad. So that's where we find ourselves now. We've forgotten where the power lies. We've forgotten that we are the powerful group, not the government. If it just say, for instance, every American who's not a politician or whatever stands up and says no, then they don't have anyone to enforce the laws. They're bogus laws. They don't have anyone to restrain anyone. They don't have anyone to drive their tanks or fire their missiles. Nothing. They're useless without us. Without us joining their military, they're useless. Without us to enforce their laws, they're useless. Less than useless. They're harmful to America and to the American people. And it's probably the same throughout Western civilization. I can't speak for every single country because I've never lived in any of those other countries. I've only lived in one other country, and that was South Korea. I lived there for a year. I can speak about that a little bit, but I was in the Army, living on an Army base, and I didn't get deep into their culture and understand their way of life or anything. The Army base was like a little piece of America. It seems like people are waking up, especially after this election, because Donald Trump won not only the electoral, but the popular vote. More people voted for him. More individual people voted for him than his opponent. So it seems like more people are beginning to open their eyes and exert their power, use their power that they have. And the first step in using that power is to realize that you have it. One person stands up against a machine and they get run over. When 200 million people stand up against the machine gets dismantled. The machine is useless without the people. Not only do the people have the power, but then that takes away all power from the machine. So it's a multiplying effect. A subtracting and a multiplying. It's not even a process of taking our power back. We have always had it. It's our power. We have it. We just don't realize we have it, so we don't use it. We don't exercise it. It all seems useless. And that's just wrong. We've been tricked, we've been fooled, we've been brainwashed into believing that we are these useless, one single tiny ant in this big machine. We're not. We are the power. Without us, the machine doesn't exist. The machine doesn't work. The machine falls apart. And the more people that realize that, the more powerful we become. And we really need to remember this throughout the next 4 years, because we do have the power. And this isn't the end. We didn't just, this wasn't a war we fought and we won. This was a single battle, this election. And going on, we've got to make sure, exercise our power, use our power to elect another person that will continue on and pick up what Donald Trump has started and continue on with it. Because if we allow some warmonger to get back in there and just erase everything Donald Trump has done, then this has all been useless. It's been a waste of effort. Now the next candidate is not going to be Donald Trump. He's not going to have the same charisma. He's not going to, or she may not have the same skills and the same magnetism that Donald Trump has, or the same, what's reverse magnetism, because he pushes a lot of people away too. But my point is, they're not going to be Donald Trump. But Donald Trump isn't the power. We are. We need to make sure that the next person who follows Donald Trump is as capable and of the right mind as Donald Trump is. We need a patriot in there who cares about the people next. What is that going to be, 2028? The next election? So we can't, this isn't the time to hit the brakes and pull over and take a break and relax at the rest stop. This is the time to push on the gas. This was one small skirmish, one small battle. This was not the war. And if we do it right, we can repair what has been done. We can repair the wrongs, fix what's broken, and have an opportunity for long-term prosperity, health, and happiness in our country. Peace inside and outside our country. Because if you think about it, if the FBI and these organizations, if they have so much extra time that they can go kicking in Amish doors, we don't need them. We don't need them to be over there raiding Amish farms. We don't need them. They're not keeping America safe by stopping Amish from drinking raw milk. That's not going to change anyone else's life at all, except the poor Amish that and poor as in I feel bad for them, not as in they have little money to help, to stop the Amish from drinking raw milk. So it's sad and pitiful what's happening to people across America, because all of these resources that are wasted on this type of stuff could be going toward keeping Americans safe, protecting our border, protecting people from heroin and narcotics and addiction and all these different things. But our government doesn't care about those because there's too much money being made. So just remember, this isn't the time. It's a time to take a short celebration, feel good about ourselves, but it's not the time to give up. It's not the time to relax and say, it's over. It's not over. It's just beginning. And if we're not vigilant and we don't exercise our power in 2028, we're going to be right back where we were in 2020 again, staring inflation and war right in the face. And that's a fact. I'm not conjecturing. If we get another Harris Biden regime in there, that's what we're going to have, period. War and poverty. We all know it. So we can't. We have to keep up the same fervor and exercise our power in 2028. So keep that in the back of our minds is very important. It is absolutely important. And I'll leave you there with that. If you'd like to become a member of Gen X Thinks, I'll leave that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Thank you for those of you who do that. I sincerely appreciate it. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put that link down in the description too. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can head over to Redbubble and check out that stuff over there. We've got hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, stuff like that, Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff, and I'll leave that link down in the description too. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. Thank you very much for doing that. I sincerely appreciate it. It helps out a lot. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can head over to the channel page and email us from there. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.